Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well this morning, this Monday morning. Everybody's doing well. We had a really busy weekend with Granny's party, so I'm a little tired this morning, but everybody's doing good, and we had a really, really good time. And of course, the time changed this weekend. So if you're in a place where the time changes like it did for us, and I knew it was going to, but then I forgot by the time I went to bed, and I set my alarm clock so I could get up an hour earlier in preparation for Granny's, trying to get everything together before I had to go to church. Well, of course, I didn't get up an hour earlier because I didn't change my alarm clock. So the joke was on me, I guess. I just forgot. I remember one time, this has been a long, long time ago, me and Paul was young, I guess teenagers, and we went to church, but we forgot to change I don't remember if it was in the spring or the fall, which would it have been? Anyway, we forgot to change our clock. So we got there at a different time than we thought we was going to. But anyway, as soon as I looked at my phone, I knew I should have just set an alarm on it, but I have an alarm clock, that I've used for years. So I always set it, but I forgot to change it. So I did not get up an hour earlier like I thought I would. But the party was really, really great, and we had a good time, had a lot of good food, and I think Granny enjoyed it. In fact, her and Paul were the last people to leave, so they hung around the longest. So I think they both really enjoyed it, but especially Granny. She really liked it, and we did film parts of it, so I'll share that later this week. You can be on the lookout for that and see Granny on her special day. Of course, her birthday was last week, but her party, you can see her there and see all of us gather together. It was a really, really good day. And if you watched the video last night, Matt and I, for her birthday, tilled it, put some compost on it. Matt got it all tilled up, and we even planted our onions, radishes, and lettuce. So hopefully her garden will do better than it did last year. We'll have more ample rain, I'm hoping, which Paul really did water hers. He watered it because it's little. He watered it about every other day or whatever. But rain just doesn't, watering just doesn't do what rain can do. Anyway, but hopefully hers will do better, and hopefully we'll keep the deer out of it this year. So the little alarm things we got last year, once we got them, there was no more deer. So I hope they'll work, and we have them again. We saved them so we can put them back out and start driving Matt crazy again. He doesn't like them. He likes them that they keep the deer out, but he doesn't like the sound that they make. So this year, though, I won't put up the streamers, and that might help. Even a bird flying in front of them, though, sets them off. But Matt said I put them. He said you put them right where they face the streamers, and then every time the streamers, blew in front of them, the wind blew that way, then they'd go off. So maybe we won't put the streamers back up. Although I did enjoy just seeing them out the window. I liked that. It's supposed to be pretty this week, supposed to be much warmer this week. And Matt and I have got a few things planted up here. If you've been watching our Sunday night videos, but we're anxious to get our potatoes planted, but we still don't have no seed potatoes. I've got a few that I've actually had from last year that I just kept to see if I could keep some. They're real little, but definitely not enough to plant everywhere, though. So we've got to get on that. Hopefully we can get on that this week, and then I can figure out the best day that we want to plant them, so we can do that. So many of you have been praying for Granny, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you so very much for praying for her. We did go back to her oncologist last week to find out, what those tests that she had done, what they showed. And I guess it was like a mixed bag. It wasn't the worst news, but it wasn't good news either. So the one little place, the lymph node that she had, it had increased a little bit more, slightly. It had slightly increased. And then there was a new place, like on her adrenal gland in that area, a lesion, he called it, but he was sure that was also cancer. And it was just, it wasn't there before in November, and now it is there. So that's a marked change. But he said he considered both of them slight changes, and that of course, no doctor has a crystal ball or anything like that, but that he doesn't think that for now, her symptoms, if they did increase, it would be slight. Like she's having no symptoms right now, other than her old age. She's kind of feeble, and She has a mechanical heart valve, so she has other problems. But as far as the cancer, she's not having any. So him and Granny, that's their decision. Granny's decision is that they don't, they're not going to do anything. That she'd already decided that before this appointment, but so they're just going to continue that plan of enjoying, each day and praying that those symptoms stay away, and that she just kind of gets to enjoy each day. And going forward, she said after we left, told me, said, well, her prayer had been answered because she wanted to make it. She wants to make it, wants to stay here, of course, forever. We all do, right? But she wants to make it till my nephew Mark and his wife Maddie have their next little boy, have their next baby. It's coming in the spring. So she said, now I know I can make it for that. So my prayers have been answered. So she wants to make sure that she sees that new great grandson. And I know that it's funny, since she's been going through this cancer stuff, it's like she keeps like there's somebody every time she's like, okay, I made it to that one. Then there's like somebody else announces they're going to have a baby. So she's made it though to every one of them. So hopefully she can make it to Mark's. And who knows, maybe somebody else will announce that they're going to have one too. And then she'll be wanting to make it to that one. Anyway, but thank you for praying for Granny, and just pray that she continues to have good days is what I'm praying. So that was the news that we, like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag. And he told us before we left, again, he said, now these are slight changes, it's not like it's had spread all over her body, or imminent that it's terrible. That may be coming eventually, but for now it's not. And we're going to thank the good Lord for that, and thank him that she's having good days. So that was what we found out about that. And speaking of her, go back to the birthday. Thank you so much for everybody that's blessed her with cards and gifts too. Thank you so much. And good wishes, comments. We shared the comments with her and the birthday wishes. And a lot of you have told me you mailed cards and they're on the way, and she will look forward to them. She wouldn't care if it was a month from now. She'd still be excited to get the card. So she keeps them all. She's got them all bundled up together in a rubber band and just kind of keeps them beside her. And she said she likes to go back through them and look at them and look at the beautiful graphics, but also read your really beautiful things that you've sent her. So thank you so much for doing that. You've really, really blessed her and made her happy, for sure. Speaking of those prayers, thank all of you for praying for each other too. I'm praying for the ones that have been leaving prayer requests in the chat here, but also just on all of our videos. It's wonderful that we can pray for each other. It doesn't cost anything and doesn't even cost you much time to do it. So thank you so much for doing that. Chubbs is feeling better. Brenda's feeling better. These were the ones that I had mentioned. Janice still needs our prayers. I think she's feeling some better, but she needs our prayers. And then Kathy's hip replacement is still coming up. So please remember that, and all the others too. There's so many more, but thank you for that, and continue to pray for each other. We do have a few egg separators in the Etsy shop. Let's see if I can put the shop in there. I have a spider here crawling beside me on my box. Okay, go on, little spider. Go away. A little bitty tiny one. Let's see where he goes. He's going away. So there's a few of those, and so many people's been asking for the mugs. Rob is making some right now, but I don't have them yet. But when I do have them, I always list things on Sundays, so you can check. I expect he'll call me any day now, but I don't know. I always tell him there's no hurry, just whenever he can get to them. But there's a few egg separators, of course, the cookbooks, the CDs, and mine and Jim's cookbook is in there too. I was going to share the other one too, just while I'm there. It's like if the t-shirts and stuff. I've had several people ask about those. It's confusing, I know, because we have the Etsy store that we man and we ship out everything that comes through that. But then we also have that print on demand store where they actually print if you wanted a t-shirt or a cup or something like that, and then they ship them. So that's that. Paul had some great music last week. I was going to share some of that and give you a little tease about what he's doing this week too. For his, this is like a kind of a comical song. You can listen to it, but for his old timey, that's old timey. He played The Mother of Bluegrass by Charlie, is a Charlie Louvin cover. It's kind of it is a real humorous kind of song. So you'll have to go listen to that if you want to get a smile, get a laugh about it. The ending especially is funny. And then for his original, he shared another one of Daddy's songs, and he talks about it, but he also you get to see kind of behind the scenes. You'll Miss Heaven Most of All is the name of that one that Daddy wrote. And he talks about the behind the scenes of how you get to see, he doesn't as much talk about that, but how he would just kind of try to, I guess, if you will, figure out what kind of arrangement he wants. So he tries some different things. It's real interesting. But he talks about how that too, when Pap wrote that song, that my Aunt Carrie, Pap's sister, actually sung the lead on it when they recorded it. So that's a good one. And then this is our March story series. This month for March, we have a story series. So he's this shared the second one of it, and he talks about it too. And it may be one that you've heard. You might have been, if you've heard like traditional music a lot, but Blackjack County Chain, and it's the words and music by Randleman. But it's a good one, and you can hear Paul talk about it. It's kind of one of those songs that's maybe not quite as violent as the ballads of Appalachia, the murder ballads, but it does have some violence in it for sure. So you could see that one. And then the tease is that tomorrow, let me make sure I don't mess it up. Paul texted me this morning to tell me. Now I'm reading my own text. That's not going to help me, is it? Tomorrow's Old Time Tuesday. I couldn't remember if it was this week or next week, but he's going to do one off of this. When me and him were young, and Steve was young too, but Steve's 5 years older than me. So it was like Steve was always the adult, and me and Paul were the little kids. I'm 4 years older than Paul. But Steve liked music, and every time he would leave, we would get in his music and we'd listen to his cassette tapes and stuff like that. And I thought this album was Steve's, but I think Paul recently told me it was not Steve's, but that was my memory that it was Steve's. Anyway, there was an country music album there that was like a compilation, how they used to do that. And I think it had 3 records in it. And we listened to that a lot. We listened to it a lot. So Paul's going to do one of the songs on there. I don't know which song he's going to do, but he's going to do one of them. And then, but the part he wanted me to tell you about and tease about is I'm going to be in the video, because he's going to quiz me about how many songs I can remember off that album. I said, oh no, I won't be able to remember just 1 or 2. And he said, no, I bet if you start thinking about it, you'll be able to remember more. I don't know if he's right or not, but maybe. But he said he'd give me some hints. So he's going to give me a test. So you can be looking out for that one. Be tomorrow for his video that he'll put up tomorrow, which will be fun. And all those songs, though, the ones I do remember, I hear them, and I am took back to in Steve and Paul's room. They had to share a room. I got a room by myself since I was a girl, but they had to share a room, and they had twin beds. And so usually Paul would be on his own bed, and then I'd be on Steve's bed, and we'd be listening to those. So it takes me right back to those days. Those are the days that one time we were listening to it, and I said, I think it was that one. It may have been something else, but anyway, I said, we ought to just invite Merle Haggard to come over and play. And even though I was older than Paul, I said, play with Pap and probably Ray. I don't know what I said, but play with Pap. And Paul just looked at me and was like, are you stupid? We can't ask him. He's famous. And I was like, well, there's always somebody coming to play with Pap, and he seems like us. Maybe he would come. That's just how I thought about it. So anyway, you can be on the lookout for that. I had some more stuff about the Helene that I wanted to share with you that my friend has sent my way. This is another one. I shared a lot of videos from Geomodels, And this is another one from him that he's put out. Is so fascinating to see the things that he talks about. So in this one, and a lot of them, he's went and if you watched them and showed where the little landslide started, and then how it just got bigger and bigger and bigger as it went, with trees and rocks and water and everything. So in this one, he kind of shows where it's like it was so big that it cracked a mountain. It's really interesting though when you go and watch it. It's almost like he found, and he could see this stuff from the satellite images. LiDAR, is that it? I think how you say it. I may be saying that wrong. Anyway, he could see it from that, and then he went and found it. That's how he could tell where it was at. And so it's like that huge part of the mountain, if he went and he goes and finds the exact part, just kind of moved a little bit and sit down. And so then he finds the little gap, and then he goes down and shows what damage that caused further down. It's really, really interesting. Really amazing. Of course, it's got beautiful scenery just because it's in those mountains that are so beautiful. And the other thing is we've been talking about, and I'll share this address again of it's Deep River Farm, but he's collecting. It's actually started from Jan and then Vivian, two of our followers, and thinking about those people that garden, how they need to, they lost their seeds and all their stuff too. So this was a way that you could help by sharing some of your seeds. We sent them some, and I know a lot of other people have too, but and then they would distribute them. There's the address for that. And I'll put all this in the description below too, if you're watching this later and can't see it. And anyway, but I said during that, the other thing is though, in a lot of places, they lost all that. That's true. But some of them lost the very soil in their garden. It's gone, just been washed away, and there's nothing left but bedrock. And if you are a gardener, like I think about our gardens here at Pap's big garden and Granny's garden, we've just spent years trying to enrich the soil and get it better, because it was just red clay and rocky and all that, and all the rocks you've thrown out, just all the love and toil and sweat you've poured into the land so that it would produce more food for your family. And then that storm took that away too, So in some situations, their soil's completely gone. In other situations, it's been contaminated by all the stuff that got washed, the factories and the even just the houses and the cars. You think about, a car getting tumbled and tumbled and tumbled, and the gasoline and the oil and all that getting out. And then people's houses, we all have, whether it's paint or maybe gas for your lawnmower or whatever it is in your house. So in some cases, it's that kind of thing. It's the contamination anyway. And we've said that before. And I said, that's such a huge thing. You think, how in the world could anybody fix that? And I said, pray, continue to pray for them. And they're not, Helene happened way back in September, but there's also people recently that suffered from the floods in, Kentucky and West Virginia and lots of different places. So please remember them too. Anyway, my friend shared with me some people that are working on that. So this is a video I'll share here, and North Carolina farmers are in big trouble. But it's just a real short video. I think it's just 8 or 9 minutes, if I remember right. But it's they're helping them. This video will focus on the soil. They're like donating dump truckloads of compost per day for a week or so, and they need others to help. Of course, that's a cost. So if you go to that video and you look in the description, they tell you about how you could support them if you want to, and you can just watch those big trucks. It's amazing with all that beautiful, beautiful compost. And then also Billy and Michelle of Permapastures Farm, they are working on they've put together already a nonprofit to help with that, thinking about remediating all that existing soil that's there. So this is actually, I think this may be this is the flyer. You could find out more about them on their channel too, Permapastures Farm, but that's actually the flyer. So you can go and read, and they're having a day where he will teach. And if you was in that area, this is in the Madison County, Buncombe County would be in that area. I think they're in Madison County, but it would be in that area. But if you wanted to go and learn and see what needs to be done, how to fix your soil. So check both of those out. check both of those out. And there was another one last week I shared about the bees. Again, beekeepers lost everything. This is in Avery County, is another one about talking about that and how they're trying to bring them back. And then in turn, of course, bees are wonderful if you're a beekeeper. I always wanted to be a beekeeper. But if you are and you have their honey and all that, but then they provide so much for your gardens, for the pollination. They are the pollinators, one of the pollinators. There's others, but please, you can check that out. And interestingly, this past week, we had some dear friends come to visit us. They'd never been to our house before. We've known them for many, many years, really long before I even started the Blind Pig and the Acorn. And we knew them through Miss Cindy. They were friends of Miss Cindy. So back in the days when Miss Cindy still lived in Black Mountain. So that's how we met them. Anyway, they come out to visit us, and they were affected by Helene. And we knew that and had been praying for them. But to hear them really firsthand tell their whole story and talk and show us pictures and all that, it was just so crazy and so amazing that now thankfully for them, their house was not impacted, none of their little buildings, but their land. Of course, there was the hurricane. There was the 17 inches of rain in one night. So there was they had pictures of it looked like a lake. There's no lake there. The damage it did to their reservoir and all that, their road, their bridge. And but then there was one of the tornadoes that spun off come through there. So the trees on both sides of their mountains are just so I don't know how would you ever clean it up anyway, but just to kind of show that the longevity of the damage. So that happened in September. They just got their final real water back like it's supposed to be last week. And they've been working on it this whole time. So it's just amazing. And their driveway's still not drivable. So they're still driving through. I think she said they did have to drive through a pasture and then two neighbor yards. Now they're just driving through the yards, not the pasture. So they've a little bit of improvement, but still all that time since September. So that just really shows what terrible, terrible damage. And of course it was widespread. It wasn't just there. So it was just really, though, something to hear them talk about it and to say how blessed they felt like they were because their house and stuff was not damaged. And where they live up high on the mountain, there's nobody behind them or anything. So they felt safe drinking from the creek, using the water from the creek. I'm sure they boiled it or whatever, but they were really thankful they had that creek. And so for, all this time to have to go get 5-gallon buckets out of the creek and use them, they said they'd take some to the bathroom and some to the kitchen, and had to wash their clothes in the creek. And just, it's a really old house. The gentleman's grandfather and grandmother's house. So it's like they said they'd been put back in the past to when they would have done those things, washing your clothes in the creek. Anyway, something to really, continue to pray about because they're not the only ones that still suffering. Like I said, just got their water back, still don't have their driveway. There's lots and lots of people like that. So please continue to remember all of them. And I think I'm ready for the wisdom from the comments. Let's see. One interesting thing, though, there's lots of different, I've shared them before, and a lot of you shared them, all the different people you could donate to. They told us that in their little area, who they didn't know what would have happened without the churches, which a lot of people, like even all of you and people, donated stuff that ended up at churches, ended up there, if you sent supplies from all over. So you're a part of that. And then Samaritan's Purse, they'd come I don't remember how many times they'd come to their house to help and then come back to check on them and all that. So those were two things they really, really were thankful for. And so Samaritan's Purse is still there, and there's other people still there too. A lot of the ones I've shared before for donating to. And then that one video, if you want to help with the soil, you can definitely still do that. Lots of needs in other places too. I know that. So I had one start off with the wisdom from the comments. This is not really from the comments, but this is from a little short video. It's just like 2 minutes long, under 3 minutes. I can't remember exactly, but from Haley. And just a little encouragement about when you feel overwhelmed, especially as a believer. She's sharing Bible verses that would encourage you. We all feel overwhelmed sometimes. I felt a little bit overwhelmed Sunday morning when I got up and thought, what? Why? I thought I was getting up early, an hour. An hour makes a difference. So I was feeling a little bit like that too. But Haley gives good advice on when you feel like that. Sharing some Bible verses, like I said, it's under 3 minutes. You could go and check it out, and that would, I'm sure, make you feel better. It made me feel better just to listen to her, and thought, okay, yeah, I need to take it down a notch, and I can do this. So here's some of the wisdom, though, that all of you, I'm so grateful that you continue to share the wisdom. Thank you for doing that. And I think it helps all of us. A lot of you have told me that it does, some of them you kind of ponder on them and study. We'd say you study on them for the following days. And I just think that's wonderful. I do that. One of them will stick in my mind, and I'll study on it and think about the wisdom in that. And, I don't know, the truth and the realness of it, it just kind of cuts through all our earthly trappings and gets to the real truth. So I really appreciate all of you, and I hope you continue to do that. This one was from Lisa. An older, wise pastor was interviewed recently and asked what he would say to a younger self. He said, more than seminary, I would tell him what he's learned over the years. The most important he needs to do is to read his Bible every day and pray often. Good advice. God loves us and cares. Thank you and your family. Oh, it's just saying thank you to us. But thank you, Lisa. That's good. As a believer, yes, that's so good. So good. This is from Tanya. I saw a saying this week that I really like. You can exercise your heart muscle by lifting someone's spirit. Now, isn't that great? You can exercise your heart muscle by lifting someone's spirit. A lot of the ones y'all have shared is just a smile is free, and how it can just turn somebody's day around, So sometimes lifting someone's spirit can just be as simple as smiling or saying hello or how are you today or something like that. That's a great one, Tanya. Thank you. This is from a different Lisa. Words of wisdom. Words are like bullets. Once they're shot out of your mouth, there's no taking them back. They cause pain. Think before you speak. That's Lisa from Oklahoma. Thank you, Lisa. So true. So true. This is from Linda. This one is. On the words of wisdom, I was always told to count my blessings instead of my problems. You then find out that you really don't have as many problems as you think you do, but have many more blessings. That's so true. If we can focus on being grateful, I've shared with y'all over and over, but it's just true that my daddy, Pap, he really taught me and my brothers that to be grateful, to always be thankful for the things we had. And Tipper, you ought to look around you. You always find somebody worse off than you are. He had great wisdom, and that's true, Linda. So thank you so much. Count your blessings. This is from Courtney. Words of wisdom the preacher said yesterday in his sermon, but my daddy told me years ago, there's always an escape. Even if you don't think so or see a way out, there's always an escape. Courtney, that one is really full of hope, which in this world, just humans, we need hope. If there wasn't hope, what would we do? If there wasn't hope that things would get better or hope that something would get fixed. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that one. This is from Jay. When talking with my dad, if he forgot what he was going to say, he would always say, no worries, the train always comes back around. I like that. That's just not really wisdom, but it's just, we all do that, forget what we're going to say. And the train does come back around, sometimes not as fast as I want it to, but it does. Thank you, Jay. This is from Kat. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's an old one, but a good one for sure. This one is from Anna. This quote struck a chord, as I believe prayer is an invisible thread that connects us to something greater than ourselves. And this is the quote. I think our lives are connected by threads. We're weaving our own quilts as we go along, and it has been my experience that there are so many threads that connect people, invisible threads, strong threads, sparkling threads, but I think there is so much interconnectivity between people I'm sorry, I lost my place here. I had to change. I have to take two different screenshots. Okay, I'm gonna start all over so I don't mess it up. I think our lives are connected by threads. We're weaving our own quilts as we go along. And it has been my experience that there are so many threads that connect people, invisible threads, strong threads, sparkling threads. But I think there is so much interconnectivity between people. And I acknowledge that, and I see it all the time. I think some of that is divine. And that quote actually was from Kathy Garver. But thank you, Anna, for sharing that. Isn't that beautiful? Thinking about that, how we're all connected, and thinking about those threads, and the makes me, of course, coming from Granny. Granny quilted some too, but her crochet makes me think of all those beautiful little woven threads. But then how we're like that too. We're connected to each other. That's just so beautiful, Anna. Thank you for sharing it, and thanks to Kathy um, for saying it. That's just beautiful, really beautiful. Thank you for that one. This one's from Susan. My grandma used to say, the least said is the easiest mended. Took me a long time to realize the wisdom in those words. So true. Thank you, Susan. That one goes along with the bullets leaving our mouths. This is from Olivia. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. That's a good one. This one's from Olivia too, and we've shared this one before, but I learned it from y'all. I'd never heard it before. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent, and that was Eleanor Roosevelt. Thank you, Olivia. Those are great. This is from Jill. This is not a wisdom, but this is exactly what I was trying to describe in a recent video about March. And I'm so thankful to Jill that she shared this, because I didn't know it. I'd never heard it. It's from Charles Dickens, The Great Expectations, the book. It's just a quote, but it was one of those March days when the sun shines hot and the wind blows cold, when it is summer in the night, summer in the light, and winter in the shade. Oh, that just perfectly sums it up. Thank you so much, Jill. This is from Laura. After live, but I thought you would enjoy this. I do. This is a good one. Souls are like tomatoes. They take a while to ripen and very easily bruised. They get very easily bruised. Isn't that beautiful, Laura? Thank you. Souls are like tomatoes. They take a while to ripen and are very easily bruised. That's a great one. This is from Janet. The reason I'm old and wise is because God protected me when I was young and stupid. I can surely identify with that one. Thank you, Janet. This is from Livy. Wisdom from the comments. I've been holding on to this one from my grandma. It's very German, so it's very to the point. We get too soon old and too late smart. I always took it to mean that I would understand wisdom long after I could use it. That's a really good one. We get too soon old and too late smart. The human condition, for sure. This is from Rick. Rick says, a thought is not a memory yet, so make the memory come from a good thought. I made that up. But that's a good one, Rick. Thank you. That is a good one. So often those terrible thoughts come in our mind about this or that, whether they're fearful or worrying or whatever. But if we could make them skedaddle and hold on to those good thoughts and make those the things we dwell on, that would be wonderful. This is from Sandy. Forgiveness is the fragrance of a violet on the heel of the one who crushed it. Now that's one you could really study on. Forgiveness is the fragrance of a violet on the heel of the one who crushed it. Oh, that's just beautiful. That's just beautiful. Thank you, Sandy. This is from Linda. A little bit of wisdom. Never forget that whatever you sow, you will reap. Be sure you are sowing good seeds and not weeds. Y'all shared that one or a version of that one before. That's a really good one, though. We have to remember that. Do we want to raise a big crop of beautiful roses, or, a bunch of weeds? So this is from He Reigns. The only thing you can control is self-control. I heard this recently and thought it was profound. That is profound. The only thing you can control is self-control. And in one way, that's like, oh man, you can't control nothing. What a waste. Life's just hopeless. But there's a hope in that. It's like gives you a hard place to come up against. I think those hard places are necessary to come up against. So I really love that one. We can control our self-control. Yep. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for all of you sharing those wonderful bits of wisdom. I know I dwell on them and think on them, and I know a lot of you have told me the same thing. So please continue to leave them. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. We have some videos, especially Granny's. Be on the lookout for that. Granny's birthday. I got to work on that today, maybe. Be on the lookout tomorrow on the Blind Pig and the Acorn channel for me and Paul talking about that old record. And whatever song he didn't tell me what song he's going to do from it, but be on the lookout for that. Matt hopes he's going to get started on his shed this week. He's got it all laid out, but he needs to do the next step. I would love to be outside doing some stuff. I don't know what'll happen though, but be on the lookout for our videos this week. And I hope you drop back by next Monday. I always enjoy spending my Monday mornings with you. And I hope you have a great week. I love you all. Bye-bye.